All right. This week, we have some notes on the PowerPoint. And let me give you a bit of advice. Read those notes. All right. They are an overview of each of the Gospels. And they show how that Jesus is presented in each of those Gospels. It's very important. Now, if you cannot open those notes, you email me or let me know, and I can send them to you in a Word format or some other format via email. The other thing is, next week we will be having forums on each of the three Gospels, and you need to be able to give specific examples out of each Gospel as to how Jesus is presented in that Gospel. All right, I know that sounded confusing, so let me explain. For example, you find in the notes that Jesus is presented in Matthew as Messiah King. I want you to give me specific examples from Matthew that show Jesus being presented in that manner. For example, Matthew quotes from the Old Testament to prove that Jesus is fulfilling Old Testament prophecies. Give me those specific examples. Show me how Jesus is presented as Messiah or King. He gives a manifesto in chapters 5 through 7. That's an example of him proclaiming or showing or Matthew proclaiming or showing Jesus' kingship. I hope you got it. Also, you will need to be able to articulate the differences and the similarity between the Gospels in these discussion boards. Very important. And also, you will need to be able to respond to your classmates' post. I don't want just some one-word response like nice, or maybe you go way out of the way and give us 3 words. That was nice. No, you need to interact with what they say. You need to, critically think about what they're presenting. Do you agree or do you disagree? If you do agree, tell us why in more than 1 or 2 words. That's how these forums work. They're to be discussions. They're to be back and forth. And you may disagree. That doesn't mean we're going to get ugly on the discussion board or the forum. We're not going to get ugly. But we can agree to disagree in some cases. All right? And if you want to defend your position, please feel free to do that as well. All right? So keep those things in mind. Read your notes. As you're reading your Gospels, you want to find specific examples that show that these Gospels are presenting Jesus in this way. In Matthew, how is Matthew showing he is presented as the Jewish Messiah King? In Mark, how is Mark showing that Jesus is presented as the servant, the man of action and obedience? In Luke, how is Luke showing or presenting Jesus as the ideal man and trying to present him so that he appeals to all of humanity? Show us that. Be able to give specific examples, either from the stories that are told about Jesus, either by what Jesus says or the commentary that's kind of put in there by each of the authors. Be able to tell us that. And also you want to be able to tell us or articulate some of the differences, describe or explain some of the differences that you see in these Gospels and some of the similarities. All right, good luck. Just one other suggestion. I would suggest you go ahead to next week, open those discussion boards, read them. They will help you in preparing as you read through these Gospels. All right, see you later.